A structure of mystical and alien origin, emanating particles of abstract perspectives and reflection into the expansive nightscape to those who know where to listen. This is Monolith de Mythos, the Monstro Studio podcast.
Well, what's interesting is that you said, well, we kind of made a thing where we would make our episode 10 a little bit different. And why don't you explain why episode 10 is a little different?
Because we're trying out being in the same room instead of doing an over Discord thing. So now instead of having two separate audio files, well, I won't get into it that much, but we're in the same room basically, and
Yes,
we kind of have it set up with a lot of lights. Yeah. And I got a table set up, and I got all these wires going everywhere, so hopefully everything turns out okay. I can actually mess around with my mixer more now, so so we'll just see how it turns out.
Yeah,
in the editing,
and eventually we'll try to do some type of like video in the future to get some shit on YouTube.
Yeah, we're gonna compete with Joe Rogan on Spotify.
Yeah. He's already having issues, though. Have you been hearing about it?
Yeah, like from what I hear, Joe Rogan, he got a deal with Spotify, and the idea behind it was that he was going to have more say in basically just what his episodes are about, everything that he and his guests say, and there's no censorship and all that. But then
that was the plan, right? That was the plan. Yeah.
And the day comes, and then now it's all like, oh no, we're going to take out like a few of these episodes.
Yeah.
And
which episodes are they taking out?
I think it was something to do, probably transphobic, or quote unquote transphobic.
Anything that's offensive, right? Like political shit, all that stuff.
I don't think it's anything. It's just like certain things.
I'm also hearing maybe possible just guests, and like maybe Alex Jones could have been one of them.
Yeah. And like just him having certain people on, they're just taking them off.
Yeah, and which you're already getting censored, and that's not going too well with Joe Rogan. But the Spotify team is also backfiring on him too, saying they're going to what do you call that? Go on strike. If they keep Joe Rogan on there. And I'm just thinking, man, it's only been 1 month since this has happened. This is wild.
And this is something that is like a contracted thing. So it's something that's anticipating. So if you knew this was going to happen. So once it did, why are you waiting for it to happen to say, I don't want it, I want out?
Right. Yeah.
This whole situation's weird.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's like partly the first reason they got him on Spotify in the first place because they're starting to implement video podcasts on their service.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to come later this year. That'll be the first for them, right? They don't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're using Joe Rogan probably to launch that type of thing.
Yep.
But it should be interesting to see how it plays out.
Oh yeah.
But it doesn't seem. I keep listening. I think the last podcast I just listened to him was last week, and he was saying some stuff. He doesn't seem too worried about it. Like, I mean, his contract is his contract, right? It's not like if anyone's going to cancel it, wouldn't it be Spotify if they're not happy with it? Like, and then he'd be fine, or does that work that way?
I'm not sure. It depends on the contract, so probably it might end up with him not having a platform anywhere, but then he could probably just fall back on his website.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I listening to him, it seems like that's what he's always wanted to do. He's never wanted to be censored, and he knows he's going to be censored no matter what he does. He's always said that. But I guess we're going to wait and see. Yeah. But it's been quite a month of just some Joe Rogan in the news of censorship again. Yep. Because you should be able to say whatever you want to. Who knows if this part might be censored out from Spotify.
Oh, no.
They'll just take us all out. But yeah, and I'm learning a lot more from watching his podcast, listening. I listen to him more now. I listen to them at work, and it gets me kind of through the opening shifts at work. and it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Um, they were explaining though some stuff I kind of wanted to talk about was the movie industry.
Mm-hmm.
Like what do you think's gonna happen with it? I mean, so we watched the movie Tenet.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Opening weekend.
opening weekend. Was it opening weekend?
Yeah, I think it was the Sunday of.
Okay. And we did our best to support the film.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was me, you, and a couple other people.
Yeah.
And
Like, support the film, but I guess support, but not really the movie theaters, because from the sounds of it, they don't really make that much off of ticket sales.
Right.
It's all like food, like popcorn. I mean,
well,
like
that's what me and Justin had to do.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. You guys got all the food.
I ended up getting like some White Castles, some popcorn.
Mhm.
Or no, he got the popcorn.
I got your White Castle.
Oh, I got a pizza
Mhm.
and a drink.
Yeah. So there you go. There's your support.
Yeah, you got to make sure you buy a buffet to help out the movie theaters.
Mhm.
And I just recently read something about Christopher Nolan and James Cameron trying to save the movie theaters right now. They're asking literally like I don't know if it's government, but just I know some political type people are they're asking for their help as much as they can, because I know every time I hear more and more movie theaters are getting shut down because they're just not making the money.
Yep.
Do you think that do you think it's just a rough time right now and then maybe a month or two to start getting back to normal?
I'm not sure, because the whole stigma of everything, and it's rightfully so. It's justified. You know, people just don't want to get out and be in like the same room with everybody else.
Right, yeah.
And I was a little wary about it too, but I just kind of kept my hands to myself, away from my face. I didn't drink too much, so I could leave my mask on in the theater, and then also just tried to follow the seating alignments.
Yeah, we followed all the rules. We did pretty good on that. And me, I try to eat as less as possible, but I just kept eating. Like, if I got it, I would get it there.
Mm-hmm.
And
I saved all the popcorn until after the movie.
Yeah. And but you know, I think we might be in a little bit of progress for even just seeing that movie, because I remember us talking about it. I don't know if it was last podcast or just like, you know, off the podcast. We're talking about like, I know the movie's been delayed like 2 to 3 times, right? Like, if we're even going to see this movie, because I wasn't even expecting to see it anymore. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I kind of gave up on it, and it was the only movie I wanted to see during the summer, despite ratings or reviews or what people think of it. Mm-hmm. It was just something I wanted to see. Yeah, something big. And so I found that interesting. Like, holy crap! When we're at the theater, like, wow, we're really watching a movie now. Mm-hmm. Like, this is great. It was such a refreshing feeling. Like,
it was kind of surreal. Like, just having not been around that for so long.
I know the atmosphere of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
especially IMAX.
Yes, and that's why I had to make sure like we did something bigger than a regular film. Like, and it's not go to the movies. Let's go to the IMAX.
Yeah.
Let's like make sure we see that.
Let's pay $15 for a ticket.
Yes, and was it worth it to you, despite the atmosphere and despite? Let's talk about the movie. Did you find the movie good? Tenet. I don't know how many movies we're going to see in the theater this year, but that was one of them. What's your thoughts on Tenet?
It was a good watch, especially in the IMAX. Mm-hmm. The really, really big screen. I imagine, since, you know, Christopher Nolan, he loves shooting on IMAX film now.
Yeah,
so
that was beautiful.
Yeah, so I feel like it fit very well for it. Although the concept and everything, I don't really fit the medium, but like, he could have been like shooting on red cameras at 4K, and that would have been totally fine.
Go more into that. What do you mean by medium?
The kind of the format he filmed on, because like you have digital and film as mediums, but also with film, there's 35, the standard 35 film strips, and it's 70 or 65 presented in 70 millimeter, like that, like what they did with the Hateful Eight. And then I think that's what they also did with these IMAX movies too. I think that's also what they did with Tenet.
Mhm.
Is I don't think it was on a film strip. It was the digital IMAX projectors, but it was presented at that 70 millimeter scale.
Okay.
So like the story, like story wise, concept wise, I don't think it really fit the medium for it. But it's
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
like the picture looked good, but didn't really say much of anything. But
Do you know if there's a movie that out there that should have been kind of like that? You said The
uh,
Hateful Eight was something shot like that, right?
yeah,
Now, is that a deserving film to be shot like that?
it's debatable. I say that it was. It mainly brought out the kind of
The realness.
the I would say epicness. It made it a lot more epic, like you're watching
Mhm.
like a theatrical play, who done it.
So does it also go by like what genre of movie you're watching too?
Kinda.
Because obviously you're not going to watch a comedy, or do they don't? They're not going to shoot a comedy in that,
No.
right? Or a romance movie. It's either got to be some action or type of like serious film, like drama.
Yeah, like the most notable movie that was shot that way is a movie called Ben-Hur. I actually never seen it. They did a remake of
Oh,
it a
wow.
few years
Yeah,
ago with Russell Crowe.
I know what movie you're talking about. Yeah.
But that's the movie that people always refer to when they talk about like the 70 millimeter presentations.
Yeah. Did that movie have a lot of CGI in it?
Oh no, that was like 60s,
Okay.
and maybe even earlier. But it was one of those gladiator movies. So
Yeah, I remember seeing the trailer for it. Not many people talked about it though. Like, I guess it was just a low release. Like,
maybe
it was there.
especially since it's the projection it's on is really huge.
Okay.
Like when they did the Hateful Eight, they only have one theater of it, and only like 10. I think only not even 10 theaters around in the state of Arizona, maybe even less in different other states too.
Of Ben-Hur in the theaters.
Of the Hateful Eight.
Oh, the Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is now on Netflix, right?
Yep.
They put the uncut on there, right?
They put an extension series version, which is okay. It's like it's an extra half hour, and it was okay. But yeah, going back to Tenet though, so got the IMAX though. Footage looked fine.
Yeah.
I think if anything, the shooting on IMAX film made it a lot better to edit the visual effects for it. Which on IMDb it says it doesn't have a lot. It has less visual effects shots than the average romantic comedy that they do nowadays.
Yeah.
Hollywood movies, they're editing so much into the movies they make, and you don't even notice it. Mainly just to clean up stuff, certain visual effects. They want to make actors look younger and all that.
Yeah.
But with Tenet, what they did is, and it kind of goes into spoiler territory, is that the movie is all about
spoiler territory. Just so we hear that out again.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And the movie goes into not time travel but time inversion, where people are going forward and backwards in time simultaneously. So you'll have shots where things are going backwards, but the dude checking it out is going forward in time.
Yeah.
And allegedly that was all shot on camera. So everything that they did, a lot of the shots that they did, they would have actors moving forward, and then they would reshoot everything with the actors doing the blocking backwards.
Yeah, those were great scenes,
especially the fight scene. Like I want to say half hour, an hour into the movie, where I was trying to remember the protagonist's name, but it's literally just protagonist. He doesn't have a name.
That's right.
But he fights a dude that's going backwards in time.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the craziest things you could probably see.
Yeah.
On any kind of screen.
Yeah.
And to think that was shot practically in camera is really insane.
Yeah.
Just splicing different types of footage together of like going backwards and forwards. And I definitely give props for it. Kudos Christopher Nolan for always wanting to do practical effects,
Right.
as little green screen shots as possible.
Now, did he do that with Inception too?
I think he did a lot of built-in sets for it.
Okay, because there were some scenes that I'm like, I think it was more towards the end of the movie where it was that hallway scene.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's one everyone talks about. I think it's on even on one of the posters where Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he's fighting while the dream is like turning with the hallway.
Yep.
Like that was a scene that reminded me of that moment. So
yeah, they built a lot of sets for it.
Yeah.
For his kind of movies.
Yeah, you could tell too. They're big movies. They're big sets.
That's the thing about
great cast.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the audience knows when they're seeing an effect.
Yeah.
So you get these kind of movies where everything's done practically, then it really gets you a lot more immersed into it.
And I feel like it's getting harder nowadays too, because like it's 2020. You think by now, like most people that watch a lot of movies, or even average movie watchers, they've seen everything. Like Tenet, it was up there. I'm not saying it's up there with Inception, but it had like people are holding that against it. Like, hey, you gotta make sure this is as good as Inception, despite the other movies made in between that Nolan's done. I'm gonna give it a Inception, I give it 9 out of 10.
Oh, really?
Right? I love Inception. I don't know if Leonardo just stole the whole movie from Christopher Nolan. Like every movie you can put him in, Leonardo just overacts in a good way, like times 1,000. I think he's probably one of the greatest actors we have.
Yeah.
But you don't have Leonardo in this movie, and the character wise, Robert Pattinson did a great job. The lead character is I didn't feel any connection with him.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, that was probably mainly the problem. When you say is the characters, like all the acting was good, but I don't know, the main character. I don't know if he was just supposed to have a too cool attitude the whole time, because he wasn't stressing about much.
Yeah, and especially for somebody who was just jumping into what he's jumping into, because he has no idea really what's going on, and he is learning everything at the same time that the audience is learning everything.
Yeah.
So, or if anything at all, sometimes he'll just jump into it and there's nothing to get out of it.
So you think there would be more of a nervous reaction to things, right?
Yeah, but you gotta play it cool.
Yeah.
So that the audience feels cool. It's like, oh, I don't know what's going on, but I don't care because I feel cool.
Yeah, there was a lot of cool things in there. Like the way he walked, the way the style was, everything was cool.
Just supposed to blow your mind.
All right, so I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. It's either a 6 or 7, but I'm gonna give it a 7 because I don't know. I don't know why I give it a 7 out of 10. I'll let everything else speak for itself. But a 7 out of 10. What do you want to go with?
Yeah,
and you can still explain on it too.
Yeah, I was feeling a 7 too, but I feel like I might need to bring it back down to a 6.5 at least.
Right.
Because the really strong points are the visual effects. Just everything you're seeing looks really good.
Right.
Other than that, the characters don't really carry the story all that well, and you're not really feeling for them.
Yeah.
There's especially the good guys, the villain is a lot more fun, which is usually the case, but
yeah, it was interesting.
But
yeah, he didn't care about nothing.
But still, really the only strong point and like what makes it worth seeing in the theaters are the visual effects.
Yeah.
So for me, that'll be a 6.5 out of 10.
6.5 out of 10. Okay. So yeah, that was Tenet. You know what I also thought about when you were talking about that is, so these 007 movies, right? You said you'd never seen them.
Nope.
and we got the new one coming out.
Yeah, next year.
Is it next year? Did
they pushed it back?
Oh man.
Yeah, I think April 2021.
Oh geez. So that's almost. I think it was supposed to come out May earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
But wow. No Time to Die. I think that's what it's called.
Mm-hmm. But now just no time at all.
Yeah, no time at all.
They're not letting it die, but they're not giving it the time.
Yeah. What was the reason for that? Do they want these current films to make as much as they can?
I guess so. Especially,
it's like forcing people to go to the movies to see whatever we have.
Mm-hmm. No, we don't want it to go to video on demand.
Yeah.
Especially,
of course not. Something that big? No way.
No. Especially after Tenet.
Yeah.
They were trying to keep that in theaters. I think opening weekend it just made $15 million, which that's the most that it's ever going to make.
Yeah.
In theaters.
That was opening weekend, you said?
Yep.
Oh no, that's bad.
Because after the box office will just drop every week after week after that. So really the strong suit for movies is just how well it does in the first weekend.
I love to go to those business meetings for this type of stuff to see who's yelling at who and how everything's going. Good thing Christopher Nolan's a well-known director, and I'm sure he has the money to pay everybody back. But yeah, this 007 movie, what made me think of like talking about Tenet was the way 007 is. And you know how you said where you don't care about the characters sometimes, right? So, you know, I watched these Daniel Craig 007 movies, and I think they're good. They're cool. You know, they got the same sleek, whatever you want to call it, slickness that Tenet had, right? That's what it reminded me of. Tenet reminded me of 007 movie.
Yeah.
Even
very
the way
hasty.
Even the way it was shot, like, let's get the highest helicopter shot we can get of this boat or something, or the city, you know. Except that 007 does have some really long action scenes, especially usually at the beginning. It's like 15 minutes long. It's way overwhelming. But I did notice that with 007 movies, you don't really care about the actors in that one either. That's what I find interesting. Like, you try to care about 007. You want him to get out of certain situations, but like, do you really care? You know what I mean? Like, if he dies, you'll just get a new one. You know what I mean?
Guess what? Because James Bond is a cover name.
Yeah.
He's not real.
Right. I mean,
he doesn't exist.
Wait, did I just figure something out? Are they all named James Bond?
Just this one particular spy. I've never seen any of the movies, but that's what I hear.
Well,
that's the theory, because that's why they're able to change actors every decade or whatever.
Right.
Every few movies.
Last thing I do want to say is I heard this will be Daniel Craig's last 007 movie, and some more rumors is Tom Hardy, aka Venom, that some people know about. I've known him for a while. Like, I don't know him, but I know his movies and shows. I kind of knew. I'm just trying to say that out loud. I kind of knew he was going to be the next 007 because what the English do is they pick out their popular actors, who they are, and it was going to be either Idris Elba or Tom Hardy. And I wish it went to Idris Elba, just because it would have been like, he's not as famous as Tom Hardy, and he's not as busy. Like, Tom Hardy's busy. Like, he's got Venom, he's got his TV shows. Like, Idris Elba, like, I don't think people really knew him until after, like, he was in that Rock movie with, you know, Hobbs and Shaw. He was the what do you call that? Was it the protagonist? Or no,
antagonist?
Antagonist, yeah. So I think they should have chose him. It would have been the first black James Bond, and I think that's some 2020 shit right there. You know, we could have used that. But apparently, Tom Hardy auditioned for the role, and I guess he will be the next James Bond. And we'll see where that goes. What's that?
Hopefully he doesn't get a...
I don't want him to be James Bond, though, because that's just taking away from his other projects, and I prefer that.
What is it? What do they call it?
What's that?
Because I don't want to ruin it by saying, like, what do they call Venom? Like, what is his goo?
Oh, Isn't like an X or X morph? It's a I don't know. It's not a regular word.
I want to say like Cinemorph, but that's Hellraiser.
Well, we'll just call it Cinemorph.
Might as well be.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about though.
Mm-hmm.
Like the genetics that he is or something. But yeah, even Daniel Craig said he can't wait to stop playing James Bond. Like, I feel like it's a sucker role.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, you get stuck with it. Like Pierce Brosnan had a different story when you're in the '90s. Yeah, you can play James Bond. You're known as that guy. And so we'll see where that goes. So I saw that you got a new Blu-ray collection by Alejandro Horowinski.
Yeah.
Did I say his name right this time?
I think it's.
Should I try it again?
I think it's Hodrowski. People say Hodorowski, but I think it's more of Hodrowski.
Hodrowski?
Yeah, Hodrowski.
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 Why am I trying to say it in Russian?
I think he might have been born in Russia, but I think he might have been, or no, his parents were Russian, I think, but he was born and grew up in Chile.
Because his last name could even be Polish. You know, like he's got a multi-country last name there.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ski part.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you got the new collection that came out.
Yeah.
Do you want to let's get more into that? Explain what that is, what movies.
Yeah, so it is a new from Abco, from the Abco Records. So what it's, I just want to make sure I call it right. Yep. Like it is the new 4K bundle from Abco Records.
Now, did you get this on time? Like when you were supposed to?
Technically, it originally said it was going to be out late August, but they pushed it back to late September.
Okay.
But still, they started shipping out a few days before it was released. It was available to be purchased since I already pre-ordered it in like May.
Right.
But what's really interesting, it comes with 4 movies. The first 3 are Fondo Ilis, El Topo, The Holy Mountain, and they've all been given 4K remasters.
Nice.
The other Blu-rays I had, they were just 2K, but these are 4K. So, and they were all supervised by Alejandro himself, so he had good input on it. But most importantly is that they have 2 extra movies that I don't have in my collection. Mainly Fondo Ilis, which is Alejandro's first movie that he made in 657?
That's the black and white one, right?
Yep. And I actually tried. There is actually uploads of it on YouTube. I tried watching. I only watched the first 15 minutes of it, and I could kind of sympathize with that one movie theater screening that they had, where in Mexico, where they were so appalled by what was going on in the movie that
like his movies, right?
Fondo Ilis, his first movie.
Okay.
The audience started a riot.
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
And Alejandro had to dip with like in a police car, I think.
Oh, jeez, that's wild.
And it had like for the first 15 minutes, they had some really weird choices. It's mainly what stood out to me was the editing, where when they're gonna change to a different scene, it would flash between the next scene and the last scene for a few seconds.
Right.
And I don't know if it does that for the whole movie, but like it's stuff like that I am interested in seeing, because I feel like we're all too adjusted and mainly, like, frankly, just bored with the way the movies are now, especially from by the Hollywood. It is literally a Hollywood machine just churning out these movies, and they all just kind of look and feel the same. So it'd be interesting to see what some movie like Fondo Ilis has to offer. So especially after just watching 15 minutes of it, it was.
Can I ask, why did you only watch 15 minutes of it? Was the whole movie uploaded?
It was the whole movie, but I don't know. I think maybe it like took too much energy to watch. Right. I already forget what happened. From what I understand, the movie is about 2 characters. Fondo y Lis, Fondo and Lis,
Right.
or Lis, and they're going on like a journey to find the magical city of Tar, and I guess that's where they can get like wishes granted.
Oh, I love movies when they're looking for lost cities.
Hmm.
That's always an adventure.
And then as they go on, they find really trippy shit and people, and that's just basically the whole movie.
So that's kind of cool. You only watched 15 minutes of it, and now you are here with the Blu-ray.
Yep.
And is that restored too?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's mainly what I was waiting for. When I had the Holy Mountain and El Topo Blu-rays
Right.
that originally came out, they said that there was going to be a Fondo Elise Blu-ray coming out, but it never came out. It was all that ever really came out was a DVD.
Right.
And it was only available as part of a bundle like this of other DVDs, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt there was no point in trying to just get that separately on its own, and I'd much rather just watch it restored like this.
And then
The other movie they have is Alejandro's newest movie, which is a documentary called Psycho Magic: The Art of Healing.
right.
And really, all that is just chronicling his kind of philosophy and teachings of how people can kind of, in a sense, get better themselves and gain a new perspective on just kind of like figuring out either like whatever questions they have or deterring whatever obsessions or addictions they're going through.
Right. I can't wait to watch that one. That's I'm pretty sure it was last year when you sent me the trailer to it, because I don't know if it was like released at certain times in 2019. But I know the trailer was. I know there was like certain screenings of it or something like that. People watching it.
Yep.
Is that what it was? It was just. It wasn't going to be distributed yet. Like people were just testing it out. But that's like what most movies here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Like not the Hollywood ones, of course not. But your other films.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember you showing me the trailer and I'm just like, man, I can't wait to watch this. Right? Like,
yeah. There's just
here
so
we are
much...
a year later.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus,
crazy how these
and it's right here. I literally just want to open it up and watch it, but I wait for Justin's bitch ass.
Yeah.
But,
crazy how
I'm excited for it.
The timelines for these crowdfunded movies go.
Yeah, you just never know, and it sucks when you get a trailer or teaser for it, and it takes that long. You know. So speaking that it takes that long, we got Dune coming out.
Yes.
It's supposedly supposed to come out, I want to say November. Let me check my calendar here.
I think it's early December. I'm gonna guess December 10th. I'm not even looking it up. I haven't really looked it up.
Let me guess my original date. I thought it was gonna be 10th or the 11th
of November.
Yeah, just 'cause I thought they were trying to do like 11/11 type thing. You know, like I'll wish it good luck. But if 007 got pushed back, I wouldn't be surprised if this got pushed back, which we're kind of expecting already, right? If we put that in our minds,
yeah,
it'll help us be more patient to it.
Dune, I don't mind just getting DLV, just watching it at home. I'll shill $20 for it.
Yeah, I got the date now here, December 18th.
18th. Okay, we were both off then.
Yeah. Well, I knew I was off. I didn't know what actually changed from that.
It's the new Star Wars.
You wouldn't see that in theaters, though?
I would, but I also wouldn't mind just watching it at home.
You wouldn't mind being COVID-free?
Yeah. Or maybe I will catch COVID and then I have to stay home anyway.
Maybe it's a movie worth getting COVID for.
Maybe.
You know?
Probably. I don't know. I got the book for it also. I've only read the first paragraph, I think.
Right.
I need to start reading it.
Oh, you finally got the book?
Yeah.
Nice. Not only do you have the book, but you have Alejandro's...
the documentary?
Yeah, the documentary about it. And I remember you showing me... that must have been 2 years ago, 3 years ago. One of the first times I met you... Oh, wow, that book is thick. That's what she said.
I guess it's 2 books, although technically it's still 1 book called Dune, because they have first book 1 is just called Dune, which is Paul. He's looking for the Muad'Dib, which is I guess also a book, and then book 2 is also called Muad'Dib, but it also has Paul in it.
Oh, okay.
So I guess this is all pertaining. This is all just 1 book.
Oh, Paul is the main guy.
Yep.
He's like their Jesus, right?
They're kind of like Messiah, I think.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
I don't know. I'm not going to talk more about it. I need to read the actual book.
Okay. Yeah, that's a big book. You said you haven't started it yet?
Nah, I just got like the first paragraph.
It's interesting too, though, because like a lot of people aren't reading books nowadays.
Mhm.
Are you actually gonna sit there and read it, or are you gonna do the audio?
Oh, I'll see. I'll actually sit and read it.
Okay. Well, you know what? What do you call it? Props to you for going to try to do that, because I know a lot of people aren't out there reading books anymore, and that's super thick. That's what she said. But
if you look at
that's
it,
like a Lord of the Rings.
But if you look at it, it feels like it's like 1.5 spaced, so it's like a lot less words in it. I want to say,
bro, there's still a lot of words on there. I don't know, but I like my Dr. Seuss books. Those are a little bit nicer. So yeah, Dune, and what do you think of? So Alejandro was supposed to originally direct this film, and we watched
all the way in this early 80s.
Yeah, in the early 80s, and he made a documentary about it.
Someone else made a documentary about it. I forget the actual guy's name.
Oh, okay, that's what. Okay, I was a little confused on that, and I remember watching that probably when I first met you, maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember watching that, and it was so long. The documentary, well, maybe it wasn't that long, but I fell asleep, and I woke back up and finished it. Do you remember that at all? Like,
not
maybe
really.
I was drinking. I can't remember.
Maybe. I think you woke up to the good parts because there was a lot of.
You guys would wake me up every now and
then. They've animated a lot of the storyboard sequences from Jodorowsky's Bible on his movie that he was going to do.
Yeah. So yeah, he was supposed to do Dune, and it didn't happen. I noticed he's getting a lot of backlash here and there on YouTube from YouTubers.
Yeah. I guess a month ago, Vice put out a thing saying, asking him his thoughts on the trailer that came out for Denis Villeneuve's Dune coming out later this year. And kind of like he kind of said what I've already been kind of like saying earlier is it looks too predictable. It's just the Hollywood machine putting out another movie, and it's gonna, at least just from the trailer, because we've only seen the trailer, and I agree with what he said about it. It is a good trailer. It does its job.
Right.
It's just trying to get seats in the theater.
Now we have the director of 2049, Blade Runner 2049 directing this, right? And like I was telling you, it looks like it's almost in the same universe as Blade Runner. And how cool would it be? Well, maybe for me, is maybe like a crossover in the future. You know, you just
want to see Harrison Ford in that.
Harrison Ford and
Ryan Gosling,
and
Bautista's already in there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if they make this good enough, people will forget about Star Wars, and that's just a long gone story.
Yeah,
like they can turn Dune into something really big.
Yeah, because there are 5 other books for Dune.
Yeah,
allegedly.
And we're moving on. Story's got to move on.
Yep.
They finished the Skywalker saga. I know they want to do more stuff with Star Wars, but I don't know. Like, I know you got your hardcore Star Wars fans, and I know they have talks of other films, even like featuring Keanu Reeves in it. They want to do more prequels, but it's just like you can only do so much, right?
Yep.
And then it's just like Star Trek. I'm surprised that shit's still going on till nowadays. It's now still a TV show on, but maybe that's what they should turn Star Wars into, a TV show. Like, I think what is it, Bounty Hunter? What is it? What's the Bounty Hunter show called? On from Star Wars, Disney Plus.
Oh, the Mandalorian.
I can think of the name of it.
I was thinking of Dog of the Bounty Hunter. I don't know why.
Wrong Dog Bounty Hunter or wrong Bounty Hunter. Anyways, I can't speak. Anyways, that's something obviously showing that it can be the future of Star Wars, stuff like that. That's all people are talking about. They don't even talk about the last 3 films anymore. And Mandalorian is just, it's phenomenal. It's a great show. Everything about it is good. And we're getting the second season of that this month, right at the end of this month, which is going to be kind of nice. But not to stray away from Dune.
Though I'll add to it though that a TV series probably would work a lot better because
for which one?
For Dune.
For Dune.
Just because it seems like there's a lot to take out of it, especially lore wise for the whole Dune series as a whole.
Right.
Because it's what Hollywood always loves to do. They just love taking Lord of the Rings is a good example. They take a book, and sometimes the book just has way too much in it for 2.5 hour movie. So they rush some stuff, they take some out, or change things, and it's usually works out. But you just can't beat the fans of the original medium.
Right, and you either can do that, or you could do what Harry Potter did, which is let's make 8-9 movies on each book.
But even then, it was they changed a lot of stuff in it.
They do,
especially Goblet of Fire. That book was thick.
Yeah, and I thought all the Lord of the Rings books are pretty thick. Right? Yeah.
You think The Hobbit would be thick enough for 3 movies though?
No. I remember those books used to scare me.
Oh yeah.
You just look at them, you're just like, who is gonna read out? Is it bigger than the Bible? Is it?
Might be. I don't think it is.
Yeah, the Bible is very small text.
Yeah,
it's very
Nothing beats the Bible.
But it's trying to be up there.
Man.
Yeah. They're trying to have as long as a story. Why don't they just make a story as long as that? Just keep continuing. Like, hey,
I think that's all Alejandro was trying to do. I think his Dune was going to be 20 hours long.
Oh, jeez. Like a movie?
Yep.
Oh, man. And a lot of money involved.
Mm-hmm. Too much money. Skated Studios. They're like, nah, give this to David Lynch.
Yeah. So yeah, those were the 2 movies I was excited about for this year, even since the year started, was Tenet and Dune.
Tenet and Dune.
I got 1 down. I'm hoping to see the second. Hopefully it doesn't get,
2020.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't get postponed.
Mm-hmm.
I have the feeling that it won't, since it's already passed the couple dates.
Yeah.
That's what exactly Tenet did.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't like the dates that it was supposed to come out, so they just made it a month later. And that's what they got to have. One more big movie, come out in theaters for people to see.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if Dune will be it, because I can ask about 10 people right now if they're gonna go see Dune. They're gonna be like, "What is that?" I can guarantee you, most of them are gonna be females.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no females gonna go watch that film because they know it's like sci-fi shit.
Yeah.
But that's the hard part, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if it was Star Wars, it'd be a little different.
Yeah.
Like, oh, everybody knows Star Wars. But this is Dune. You ain't got no kids going to go see that. You ain't got no families going to go see that. So it's going to be a little rough on the box office. What do you think?
Yeah, especially since Star Wars, it had much more basis in...
and it's got the years packed onto it. The whole franchise.
Yeah, but when it originally came out, though, the first movie, it has its basis in spaghetti westerns. And,
so you're trying to say...
sci-fi in general.
You're trying to say if Dune's going to repeat history, like it will be like the first Star Wars?
I'm saying that Dune has its own thing going on, right, and people aren't really... I wouldn't say the mainstream is totally familiar with it.
Right.
So it's probably going to be troubling trying to get an audience for it. However, hopefully just the namesake of it, just from the director of Blade Runner 2049 and The Arrival.
Right. It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta have Pink Floyd in the trailer.
It's going to be interesting. Is that who was in the trailer? Was Pink
Floyd?
I
think they did a rendition of one of their songs.
Yeah. I have good hopes for it. But that's funny that you brought that up with the first Star Wars. Like, people didn't think it was gonna do good.
Mm-hmm.
The Hollywood didn't think it was gonna do good, and who knows? This could be our next Star Wars right now. You know, it took that long. Like, you eventually got to move on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Egypt didn't last forever.
Nope.
I mean, it's still there, but you know, I meant empires.
Yeah.
The Star Wars Empire is what, been beat like 6 times now.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, maybe 5 out of 6 because they killed all the Jedi in that one movie. But yeah, it's time for a new empire. And
It's time for the Jedi to end.
I started watching the show The Office.
Yeah.
It's a good show, but
No.
the thing is, I'm having trouble with it. It's literally like homework nowadays because there's 9 seasons, and it's funny because the first season only has 6 episodes. The rest of the seasons have like 20 to 25 episodes, and I'm just trying to blaze through them. I think I'm on season 6 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Not every episode's good.
Mm-hmm.
Some episodes are funny.
Yeah.
But it really makes you wonder about like work and boundaries and coworkers, and you know, it puts perspective in life. And I think maybe that's why it was a popular show, because you know, like, you ever wonder if you work at a place like this, like if there would be that many characters that would be into it.
And yeah, that's what I struggle with watching a lot of TV shows too, is because they always want to just cram all these episodes in one season, even if each episode is an hour long or 45 minutes long.
Right.
And usually the pacing is not very good for me, at least. So
Yeah.
I just get out of it while watching it. And
what do you think of 20-minute episodes?
Those are fine.
That's what The Office is.
Yes.
Their season like premiere and season, you know, what was the last episode called?
I don't know what the last episode's called.
Finale.
Yeah, just finale. Yeah.
Those will be like 40 minutes, but the regular episodes, they'll be like 20 minutes, and that's all you need of that episode. Sometimes they'll carry on to the next one.
Yeah. Like The Office works because there's stuff happening.
Right.
That's why I enjoyed watching it. But
you know what's funny though is
other shows like Parks and Rec, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I never really got around to it because I know they're just trying to emulate that style.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, because Parks and Rec is another like fake documentary kind of show,
right?
And Brooklyn Nine-Nine is still a normal sitcom. It just has that documentary look to it, which I don't really feel like fits very well.
Is that the one with Andy Samberg as a cop? Okay.
And it also has Terry Crews in it. I think that's one of his supervisors. Maybe he's another cop.
Yeah, I watched the first or second season of that. I was into it, but I just kind of fell away from it.
Like that really only kind of works for like the only other show that I feel like works with that fake documentary style was Reno 911.
Yeah, and you know what it is it the camera direction of it?
I think it's just
so
the
realistic
storylining,
but it's also the cameras, the way they're doing their cameras. You know, like if you said a certain something, it would zoom in.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that's editing. Maybe the editing was just better.
No,
I could see what you're talking about. Reno 911 and Office had almost like the same editing and camera pacing compared to the other ones where it looked like sitcoms.
Yeah. You know what? Now that I think about it, I'm just remembering something right now that I heard about, like what kind of separates, or at least it might not be what separates The Office from the rest of the shows. I don't know if other shows like this do it, but what The Office does is that it makes the cameramen a character as well.
Yes.
Because they're the ones focusing on the actual story, because they'll point things out that maybe other characters don't notice.
Yeah.
Or they'll want to try to get certain shots to be more emotional or to get more of what's going on because the cameramen are getting into it as well.
Right. You know, I could say, like, I don't know if it was an episode or two, but I could have sworn I heard him breathing or saying something that was like Michael Scott took somebody to the office and everyone had to leave the office and it was only them two in the manager's office. And I think he said something like whispering or something. But even like the little interview too is that when they do in the separate room, it's just like I like that part. And that's a good point that you make, that the cameraman is part of the what do you call it again?
He's a character.
He's a character. Well. Yeah. It feels so realistic
Mm-hmm.
when that happens.
Because it still feels like because it makes it into a TV show, but it's
Yeah.
also just a more organic kind of like.
And I like how the characters, they look at us sometimes like,
Mhm.
do you really believe that's what he's gonna say? Type thing, you know what I mean? Like
Jim gives camera look.
yeah, even like when Michael Scott makes a joke, he has to look in the camera like, you guys get that?
Mm-hmm.
Like every single time.
But oh yeah, since you're this far in, I will ask you, do you know why they're being documented in the first place?
I don't, and I thought that was always gonna come up sooner or later, but I maybe I might have missed it.
I don't think it actually ever does. And this is something I read in a Cracked article years ago. It might just be a theory,
Yeah.
and it is something that's not even brought up until I think it's the first episode of season 2,
Yeah.
where Michael he mentions, I forget what the name was, but he just mentions like a guy that used to work for the office before they started documenting, and he's just like, oh, this guy, he used to work here a few years ago. I wonder whatever happened to him. And then it shows Jim in the background. The camera zooms on him, and then he does this.
Oh, okay.
He points a finger gun to his head,
Yeah.
and then like he shoots himself. So the guy killed himself.
Yeah, that was a depression episode.
Oh yeah,
when they were talking about like people being depressed at work, and they brought that guy up.
Yeah. So I guess the documentary crew showed up.
He didn't know what happened to him, and he said they're like, he hasn't been here in 2 years.
Yeah, and so I guess that's supposed to be a sort of a clue as to why the camera crew is there in the first place, because they're supposed to be documenting what goes on at a workplace after one of the people committed suicide.
Oh.
But everybody is so into the having a camera crew around and being on TV that they forget about him.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting, because I know when I started watching the show, maybe it was first or second, they already acted like the show's been on.
Yep.
That was another interesting thing. And I'm like, now that you bring that guy up, it would have been interesting if they had him like pictured somewhere or something. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is the reason why this show even happens.
So I'm not sure if it's something that was planned from the beginning or
just a theory.
Yeah, or something that they actually implemented in the first season.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well,
that's really it. For
do you ever think you would? What's that?
But you go ahead, because I remembered something I watched.
Well, I was gonna say, do you ever think you would like fully on watch that show, or are you just gonna go by the clips I show you, which is probably better?
I watched a lot of the show already when I used to have cable on.
I'm the one late on it, and and just so everybody knows, I just started the show the beginning of September, and I'm on season 6, and it took me a while to get there. I'm trying to finish before Netflix takes it off.
Yeah, I
think they're supposed to take it off in October, so I got 4 more seasons, 6, 7, 8, 9. Doing my best.
I'd say you're actually picking up quite well.
Yeah, the great thing is that they're 20-minute episodes. You can watch them in the background. I've watched them at work. It doesn't take much to think about, you know. But I'm loving it. It's actually my go-to show whenever I'm like depressed or sad, or like if I feel angry or I had a bad day at work. It literally cheers me up. I don't know what it is about that show. I think it's like to tell you the message is like, don't take things at work seriously. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like whoever you have a problem with, or if you have a problem with the job or the customer or coworker, it's like, don't take it seriously. Just go with the flow. Be a Michael Scott.
Exactly.
You know? But it's funny though when he gets sad, because he puts it all into the conference room with everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody in the conference room.
It's funny that you say that too, because if it's your go-to happy show, then if you ever want to feel like depressed or genuine cringe or just unpleasantness,
if I ever want to feel that,
yeah, then you'd probably watch the UK Office, the one that first came out in the UK, and then Ricky Gervais brought it to America and made it what it is now.
Yeah, so what's the story with that? Like,
I think there's only one season of it.
Right, there is.
Because Ricky Gervais, I don't know how things work in like the British broadcasting.
Is that the main actor of that one?
Yep.
He's the one from Clerks 1 and 2?
No, that's a different guy.
Oh, he looks the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Ricky Gervais plays basically the Michael Scott character,
Right. Yeah.
and
That's actually what I saw before The Office.
Mhm.
I saw a little bit of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I only watched the first episode. I wasn't really into it.
Yeah.
But maybe if I watch it again, I'll probably be more into it. But
It'd be interesting.
it's only one season, but I'll spoil it right now if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
It he I think it ends up with Ricky Gervais getting arrested.
Oh.
And then that's the end of the show.
You know what they could have done was so keep that ending and then just like, okay, we're gonna move to America. I think the show's in Pennsylvania. Let's continue it. Let's continue it over there at Scranton, whatever it is.
Just outsource.
That's interesting. It makes me want to look up the show now after that. But I do remember seeing clips here, and it was very would you say the camera style was the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything was. Did they interview them too, like on the sides?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Jim, I think his name was Tim though. He was still like pulling pranks on the Dwight character.
Oh, dude. Okay, that should be interesting.
So a lot of the stuff is still there that they brought over to the American version. So
yeah. You know, it's funny. I think that's on Netflix too. The UK version.
So maybe you could watch that after finishing the. Unless they take that off too.
Yeah. I just want to ask Netflix that question real quick: is why The Office does not come up on my phone on Netflix, but it comes up on my apps on my Xbox? Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know if they saw me watching it too many times at work, but I can type in The Office, nothing will pop up.
Oh no. Space
Force will pop up with Steve Carell and the UK Office, but not the regular Office. For some reason, it took it off, and it saw me getting through too many episodes at once.
Strange.
Yeah. So yeah, that's The Office. I never thought I would be talking about it in 2020. It's kind of interesting how you can watch old shows and bringing back another one was like, remember I was a couple podcasts ago we were talking about Twin Peaks.
Yep.
You know, that's an old show. That's beyond old. I started the third season, whatever you want to call it, new season, first season, the return of the third season. There's so many names.
Twin Peaks.
Yeah, there's so many. I'm not gonna get into it though because I've only watched the first episode. But
yeah.
It's definitely not the same. Me and Manny started the first episode. He said he already watched the first 4 or 5.
I watched them on my own time, like a year and a half or 2 years ago.
Is it all of them?
There's.
No, did you watch all of them?
No. No.
Do you even know when you stopped on? Do you even know what episode you stopped on?
Episode 4, I think.
Okay. Because there's times where I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna watch an episode. I'm just like, I can wait. It's one of those episodes. It's one of those shows where it's like, I could take my time on it. It can last me 10 years if I need to watch each episode.
Yeah.
That's one way to make an episode last long.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't have that same essence though as the first season in 1 and 2, and I would say mostly because of the music. The music is not played as much. The music was so much legendary.
Yeah, they downplay on that the melodrama, I think, in the return.
Because I don't think I don't even remember listening to the music.
Nope, they didn't really play much.
Do they eventually?
I don't know. I barely remember the first few episodes I saw, so this would be good return to watch it.
We'll get back. We'll get back to Twin Peaks one day. We'll continue watching it and see how it goes. I think there's only
we'll see what happens to Shaggy.
Yeah, Shaggy's in it. It's a good surprise though that he was in there.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that it was him the first time I was watching it.
See,
so now I know.
Even when you were watching with me, you still wouldn't have recognized him.
Nope.
You know what's funny though? I don't recognize him. It's easier to call him Shaggy, but I remember him the most from Scream. Just his face from Scream.
Yep.
Like when he's all bleeding out. Like that's what I remember him from. But his voice, his name, I just remember from Shaggy the most. Not his voice, because his voice is very Shaggy. Did you want to get into anything else, or?
I did remember something I saw. Okay. It's kind of funny that I forgot that I watched it, but I don't know. Seems like a lot of stuff. I don't really have much to talk about it because I feel like it's just kind of mediocre, like not. I don't want to call it mediocre, but it's just nothing. It doesn't get a rise out of me, so I kind of quickly forget about it. But now that I do remember, I'm ready to talk about. I'm thinking of ending things on Netflix.
Oh, ending of it. Okay.
And you watched it too, right? I think you like watched
I
half of it, and then how'd you watch it?
So I watched maybe the 30 plus 40 minutes of it,
Mhm.
and then I watched the last 20 minutes of it.
Mhm.
So I probably missed about 40 minutes in the
Mhm.
middle. I didn't have any. I don't have much to say about it. It's a very long car ride conversation, maybe one of the longest.
Two longest car ride conversations.
Are you sure it was 2? Maybe it was 3. Like you said, maybe it was 2.5.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, because they go to the parents' house and then they try to leave, but then go back. They go to the ice cream place and then they could drive to the school.
Yeah.
So it's 2.5.
Okay. Yeah. I fast forwarded through those. I just couldn't take it anymore. I listened to spoilers on YouTube to tell me what would happen, and then I got your perspective of it a little bit. I don't have much to say about the film, but by all means, go ahead.
So everybody is talking about it.
It's on Netflix, by the way. If you guys want to watch it, I'm thinking of ending things.
Yes,
but don't do it literally.
By Charlie Kaufman, who also did Adaptation, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and
good movies.
Synecdoche, New York, and Anomalisa, which Anomalisa is great. Synecdoche, New York is also really good, really great too.
I don't think I saw those two.
I have to show you them.
Okay, watch the trailer.
Yeah. I guess I don't think I was really expecting that much from because it's a Netflix movie, so it makes sense that he doesn't have as much of a budget with it.
The trailer looked nice though.
The trailer looked interesting, but I wanted to see where it would go from there. And for the most part, it kind of just stuck with the really basic settings, like the car rides, like we talked about, the parents' house, and then like the ice cream parlor, and then the school. It really just kind of bounced off of those locations, which is fine. But what I'm really looking into is just how do you expand upon the concept, which I don't think you could even really call it a spoiler because you can already catch on to it when you watch it in the trailer. I won't go into it yet. But
I didn't see any spoilers in the trailer. You did?
Yeah, because they were kind of talking about. Do you remember the picture of the kid on the wall? And the girl asked, "Who's this?"
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then he says, "Oh, you don't recognize it? That's me when I was younger." Like she's like, "No, that's me when I was younger."
I don't. So, if someone regular is watching that trailer,
like a mainstream audience,
yeah, we're seeing that as like, oh, there's gonna be a little twist in it. That we didn't see that as like, oh, that's a major plot hole right there. Is that what that is?
No, no,
not a major one.
No, it's what it was is kind of like the concept of the movie, the theme of the movie, and you're really just kind of watching to see how it plays out, but it doesn't really seem to, at least in my opinion, it doesn't actually expand on it that much. A lot of people are praising the movie for it being really deep and nuanced and complex, but in my perspective, it's all really on the just jiggling like car keys in front of you with this concept.
Yeah,
they're just like, don't you get it? Don't you see? Don't you see what's going on? Because that's all it does the entire time. And I mean, it was interesting. It reminds me a lot of a scene in Synecdoche, New York, where Philip Seymour Hoffman and his wife and daughter are just having breakfast in the morning. It's like, I think like 2-3 minute scene, but what really happens is like almost a year goes by in that scene, and it seems like just no time at all. And they do that by talking about like the mom pulls out a carton of milk that expired in March, and then the guy reads a news, and then Philip Seymour Hoffman reads a newspaper. He said something about that happened in June, and then they're listening to the radio, and it says something along the lines of like happy like first day of fall.
Yeah.
So all that all goes on. It's on that, and from right there you get the concept of just it's all about kind of like all like it sets off the idea of just time is fleeting, but then they expand on it by having Philip Seymour Hoffman go through this thing of just like what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do in life to kind of give this everlasting impression on myself when I die?
Right.
And from there on, he sets up to do like the biggest theatrical play ever, which literally expands the size of a warehouse, and it's just all these people doing all these normal things, and
that's towards the end, right?
Towards the end, but also it just kind of layers and layers and layers and layers to it. I forget the main guy's name. Jake? I don't know.
Yes, Jake.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
And then what was the girl's name? Lucy or Jessie? Yeah, okay, it is Jessie. Or no, just young woman. But I think they alluded her to be called Lucy.
Wow, they didn't put her name on here. Huh?
Nah, they actually called her a bunch of different names just to kind of like.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
But
who would call her a bunch of different names? Just characters?
Or? Mainly Jake.
He'd call her different names.
Mm-hmm. And
like throughout the film.
Yep.
Even,
but mainly like Lucy or Lucille or like just
anything with like close to the
or like close but also different.
That's interesting.
Like those parts were really interesting, but then once it doesn't ever. I don't feel like it builds up any higher than that.
Yeah.
It just kind of coasts on that, and it's just all about, and it's kind of one of those things because, like movie reviewers on YouTube love these kind of things in movies because it makes them feel like, oh well, this is happening in this movie because it means this. Yeah. It's alluding to this, but I feel like just watching it, it seems so obvious.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if Charlie Kaufman is just writing it for the Netflix audience. It's like, I don't know if they'll actually get it, so I'm just going to make it as obvious as possible so people feel like, they feel so smart. Just like, that jumpsuit. Oh, that's worn by the janitor. Oh.
I want to talk about the ending scene.
Yeah, let's talk about the ending scene. So we'll I guess we can go into a bit of spoiler territory right now.
Yeah, spoiler territory.
Mm-hmm. That is that the whole idea of the movie is that it's kind of like a fantasy being played out by Jake, the main character, who's actually an older version of himself that works as a janitor at a high school. And he's just playing out memories as well as fantasies of an ideal girlfriend that he would have, but I guess he never really got.
Yeah.
Which is why there's all these kind of weird inconsistencies throughout it. He keeps calling her different names. Sometimes even the main girl will act totally differently from her character, or at one point they even swapped her out with a different actress, only for about like 30 seconds, and then they brought her back in.
Yeah.
But I think my main problem really with it is that the movie's just basically saying that if you're like a fat old janitor at a high school, like you can't find a way to be happy. You just have to like realize that you just need to end it all one day. Why not be right now? End it tonight.
I would think the job itself is kind of depressing.
I get that.
I've seen old janitors before.
I get that it's just the character. It's just this character thinking that way. But it might also kind of be maybe not a mental illness, but just a mentality that
who really knows though when you get a mental illness? Like Like we can look
Hopefully,
at,
when you're an adult, you find out like what your mental illness
but
is.
who knows? Like, what if you're at that time in life and you still don't find a mental illness, and you look at like all these quotes are like, oh, I'm just different. I'm just different in life. Like, what if he just looked at himself like he's different? But if he was lonely the whole time, then someone should say something to him like, oh, you went 50 years without somebody. That could be a different story, right?
And that's the thing. I feel like that's in this movie. That's kind of what he's telling himself. But also that at that point in his life, him being an old janitor, it's too late for him.
Right. So did he just go through life creating characters in his head?
Not through his no. He not that. That's what he's doing at his end of his life because because the movie is like the title. I'm thinking of ending things. He's thinking about killing himself.
So thinking is the key word to that title, right? Because he's
Yeah.
not ending his life.
No, he is.
Well, it's thinking, but like it's thinking is a process, right? So there has to be the process, and this is the process, right?
Yeah, it's kind of him coming to terms with that. He's deciding on wanting to kill himself.
I can't remember the ending of the film. I just remember. Did you want to talk about the performance that he did, the singing?
Yeah,
it was very awkward. So when I went back to the film, my mother was in the kitchen and he was singing and she's like, "What the hell is that?" And I'm like, "I don't know. He's a janitor, depressed. Yeah. I don't know how to explain it." He got a standing ovation though. It was pretty nice. I don't know if that's the real actor's voice, but he did okay.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I get that. Like, they're obviously trying to play it out like it's this kind of big finale for him,
right?
Because earlier in the movie he talks about how much he loves musicals and especially Oklahoma, and I guess the song he was singing was from the play Oklahoma, or the musical Oklahoma.
Yeah. And he loves stage performance, right?
Yeah, and I feel the same way too. Just the way that it was shot and presented, it was kind of awkward.
Oh, it was so awkward.
Like I don't know if that was intentional. Maybe it's just because I don't know musicals very well. I enjoy them. Like I don't mind like sitting through them. I just haven't seen a lot of them.
Most of the time with a musical, you see the audience. They're there in your mind. You know they're there for that person. Mm-hmm. You know that's supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. But he's not there to do that performance. I don't even know if they were. He knew I didn't even know if the audience knew he was going to do that. Mm-hmm. Like it just came out of him, and that's the difference between like real performances. You know, like hey, we're here to see this show, but his performance was like, okay, we're just gonna. Watch him perform, and that's that.
It's just kind of like this big finale he wanted to give himself at the end of his life.
It's still in his mind. It's all in his mind.
But watching it from our perspective, the real audience, it's kind of like it's kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah,
not in a good way either. No, not in an understandable way. But it just comes off as unintentional for me, at least.
The performance.
Yeah.
It was uncomfortable for me too, because I'm just like, this is so awkward. Like is he speaking to a certain someone? I know there's that female in the crowd. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that was supposed to be the old version of her.
But here's the thing though. The woman, the young woman, she is a figment of his imagination. Yeah. So he's really talking to himself in that sense. So it's really just him coming to terms with it, but it's still really weird to watch. Yeah. Like I don't. Maybe it's just because maybe I just need to. Maybe I just. I'm not feeling super empathetic about his character.
Yeah.
To say that because I just want him. I would rather. Maybe it's just me being hopeful and not as empathetic. I just wish that he would take that mentality of him just I near the end of my life I kind of didn't do things how I wanted to because mentally I'm incapable of being social or companionative.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do anything right now
Yeah.
to kind of help me feel better or try to go out more. I'm just going to end it all
Right.
because it was because it was at least 2020. They had smartphones in the movie. It's not like, why doesn't he just go on Tinder or some shit?
Uh-huh.
Like he could find like a really a young woman that's into older dudes,
Yeah.
older fat pathetic dudes, and
Jesus.
I mean like
Yeah.
maybe he did that, but like he doesn't want that.
Right.
He just wants the fantasy directed by Robert Zemeckis
Yeah.
kind of romantic movies.
There's someone out there for everybody, no matter what.
Yeah.
So
just like I don't really feel like he gave himself much of a chance. He just wants to feel sad and motivate him to just take his own life.
Yeah.
And like that doesn't make me feel happy. I want to have a happy movie with a happy ending and that it's not really even that even. I just want good character, I guess. Because I feel like the character could have done better. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just going too much into my like ideas of just like if you're an adult with mental illness, you should be able to have a hold on it so that you're not all your decisions are not just being controlled by this kind of mentality.
Right. So it's almost like don't get controlled by a let's say you have an addiction to something and you found a remedy to it. Don't get addicted to that remedy because if you do, you're going to learn that remedy or I mean you're going to keep doing that remedy to the rest of your life. You have to learn more remedies, and those more remedies are going to branch out to other type of things, and then your life can get started in one of those. It's like a tree, right?
Yeah.
Like if you just have one tree with one branch and you want to grow an apple from it, like that apple, all those apples, that other apple's going to think like, wow, what about another apple? You know? No. That one branch is going to stay stuck on that one mentality instead of the tree growing out all these other mentalities. Like that's why I look depression at now.
I can kind of see what you mean.
Look at your emotions like a tree. That's what I'm going to add to it.
Okay.
Because if you stay stuck on this one branch, you're not going to get out of it. You're just going to live your life the entire way,
just feeling sorry for yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
And and I also understand too that can be kind of hard to teach some people.
Oh yeah.
Because like some people either they don't get it or they don't want to get it. They just rather feel they just rather pity themselves.
Right. That's why there's doctors that struggle with it with patients, and there's so much medications out there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't use any of that stuff. You just have to snap out of it. It's really about a willpower. That's all you can do.
Like I wish maybe in the movie they could have alluded more to him trying to get treatment for himself, because it's just mainly Jake, him talking about living on that farm with his family.
Yeah.
Talking about how they would have to kill the pigs, or kill their livestock sometimes.
Yeah.
And I guess that kind of was what took out his kind of. It's kind of what made him feel kind of nonchalant about the idea of death, and then he kind of has like a control freak mentality. Growing up, if things aren't done the way like he wants it, kind of like his mind, he kind of freaks out.
Yeah, and I did notice that he does freak out about certain things,
like kind of OCD. In a sense,
OCD,
almost.
like bitch way. Like sometimes the way he would talk to that Lucy, I'm just like, I just have to tell her like that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what the fuck?
Like he is not very he is quite socially inept.
Yeah.
And also as well as going on to his parents getting older, undergoing dementia, and then he has to take care of his mom and dad while they're bedridden.
Yeah.
And then they eventually die off. But that's really all the movie ever really goes over. They don't go into like if he ever gets help for himself,
Yeah.
because like maybe because like I would understand if his character would not want to seek it,
Right.
but I mean somebody at some point in his life would have had to have pointed it out. They're like, man, you need help.
We also got to remember too. This is based on a book. This film.
Yeah. It's based on a book, but not like I don't think it's an actual narrative. It's like
Some people are saying it's different.
It's like a series of thoughts that of someone that that are going over. It's a series of thoughts going over someone's head while they're thinking of ending their own life or like the end of life.
Yeah.
I want to give the movie I'm Thinking of Ending Things a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Because
that's a higher score than I thought.
Yeah. Because it's still a well-made movie. I just wish that it actually expanded on the concept more instead of just dancing around it.
Yeah.
Just because it's just waving it in your face that
Well, I want to say something is like you say it's a well-rounded movie, and you gave it a what?
A 7 out of 10.
See, a 7 out, like that's the part of your mind I'm not gonna understand. Is how you like I've seen some weird shit from your movies, right? But I cannot give that a 7 out of 10.
Oh, yeah.
There's something you find in it that I think the regular viewer is not going to be able to find in it. I don't know if I don't even know if you can put it in words, but there's just something about it that you and other people that probably gave it like good reviews, right?
Yeah.
Because I've seen some really good reviews on IMDb.
Yeah.
And I can't. I'm not going to figure it out. It'd give me a headache.
Not even if you watch the whole movie. Like, I don't think you're still going to be able to figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. There's just something about it. I like even right now. That's why I had to bring it up right now. I'm like, where's the good part in this movie? But there's something you guys are figuring it out. Like it's weird.
The good part is the acting is good. The idea, it's a good idea.
The basics, basics are fine. Yeah, but the acting was great.
Yeah, it's just and it does try to do different things that a lot of movies you're not going to see in other movies, especially the sequences at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
like I'll give a movie props for trying, but I do give these ratings for movies as a whole, and as a whole, it's definitely not a 10 out of 10 like people are giving it, and I think that is crazy.
Yeah,
and like I think that only because they like the director, they like being able to pinpoint these kind of themes and messages, but it's all kind of just basic stuff, honestly.
Yeah,
I don't need to watch it more than once to get it.
Right.
Like, yeah, I get it.
And like I said, the mainstream viewer like me, we're not going to get it like you get it.
I think you will, but it's just
but
probably won't get much out of it.
Right. But if you tried to be like me, I don't try to be mainstream. I try to be in the middle, right? Obviously. But I try to respect what you're understanding that I don't. And that's what made me like other movies at times too. Even like showing you trailers and stuff like that. It's like, hey, I might not get this film, but I'm going to show you this trailer to this film. Maybe you might get it better than I will, and we could watch it. But yeah, so wrapping that up, I'm thinking of ending things. I'm thinking of ending this podcast. What do you think?
Yeah, I say we got an hour and 36 minutes in. I'm just checking, so I say that's pretty good. Yeah, we're good.
This has been episode 10.
Oh yeah,
it's been 2 months in the making. Our first podcast in the same room. Manny's staring at me this whole time.
I'm drinking.
His
water.
cat went to sleep.
Finally. So yeah, episode 10. Thank you everybody for watching this episode of Monolith and Mythos, the Monstro Studio podcast, and we'll see you later next time.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Thank you.